If you ever happen to walk into a room where two editors of magazines or websites are venting, you're probably going to hear these following lines. The youngsters today, they have no dedication. They can't put two sentences together without making a spelling mistake. And God save you if you try to point out a factual error to them. And I'm guilty of partaking in such conversations, so I'm very, very keen on understanding what life looks like on the other side. The advertising world which we report on day in and day out. And I have with me some stalwarts from the advertising industry today, and they are going to tell me whether they have a love-hate relationship with their juniors. So Rohit, you're the senior most person here, and I really want to start with you. What?
It's only age that she's talking about.
So what do you think about the youngest batch of professionals at FCB?
About the youngest guys, I think they're great. You didn't expect any other answer from me, right? So, the thing is that this is something that we do at FCB really is what we call the Star One program, right? So the Star One program is where we bring in our young management trainees and we spend like almost 3 months with them. It's a completely like a training program where they're not put into the work. They don't go into, thrown in on the deep end into work as usual. And they get to bond with each other like what PG was saying. We create the batch of, right? So the batch of Star One 2023 has just come in and they have a great bond because that's the best way actually to create the agency culture and also to keep the network, right? Because they go into different departments, they go to different cities, but the network stays, right? So every year the network builds into the agency. And I think that's something we are really, really proud of, as a program. And I think spending those 3 months with them gives them the best chance to succeed, right? And also, we always talk about that young people don't find advertising interesting enough. I think we are to blame for that because, a lot of these young kids come in with dreams and aspirations about what they will do in an agency, but, they start doing just the chasing of artworks and the, without understanding what they could possibly do. So we spend a lot of time talking about what is the journey going to be for them, right? From where they start to where they finish. And actually in FCB, it's amazing. We've got 3 people who started as Star One management trainees. One is our CEO. The second is our CCO.
Could you name them, please?
Yeah, so Kulwinder Aluwalia, he's the CEO of FCB Ulka. Rakesh Menon, he's the CCO of Interface, right? And then there's Ruchita and our group chief talent officer is Star One as well. So, it's very rare to find an environment where you can keep an employee who's come in as a management trainee in today's world, right? And keep them for, engaged in the company and contributing for over 20 years.
He's saying all the nice things, but I want to come to something very interesting. We'll talk about skills and what talent they have and what they bring to the table a little later. I want to understand about the attitude. Today the way the youngsters approach the profession is very different from what our generation or your generation did. So I want to understand from you, what do you think about the way they are coming to office and the way they talk to you and the way they present their ideas on the table? A simple example is they don't ask, they tell you. So is that happening at the agencies and is that something that you're very happy about?
I think it's good, yeah. So look at the rock stars here. Come on, 30 under 30. Come on, so look at them. We have to listen to them. They know exactly what's happening. No, I think it's wrong to say that. They know. They come and say, no. No, there are different people in my generation or his generation or her generation. I love the way you say it's my generation, no, your generation, the way you said that. Okay, and it's always every generation got rebels and every generation got mavericks. And Mavericks are always amazing, and every generation got hungry people and talented people. And I think it's wrong to say that this generation don't listen. No, they listen. They are amazing, and I can see the rock stars here. Two of them are sitting at the back, not in the front. That's why. See the rock stars. It's amazing to see how they change things and how hungry they are. They want to do it. One of them is here. That's why I was screaming for PG. Right? You can see that they want to do things, and they want to make things different. And that's good. If you don't challenge, if you don't ask questions, and you don't say, this is wrong, can I do it 10 different ways? Then you're better to be in bank.
A little later, they're going to ask you questions, very pointed ones, so we're going to wait for that. Before that,
Neeta, I just wanted to add something. As part of the jury for 30 under 30, I think, at the end of all the presentations, there was one thing that actually stayed with me was the enormous amount of confidence and the way these all of them actually winners or all the rest of them who presented, it gave me an enormous amount of satisfaction saying that this advertising industry, at least in
It's
India,
good
is
hand,
going
isn't good hand, isn't good
going to
hand.
do well.
Yeah, I mean, also, when we started off, you had a very clear path, right? You have to do this, you have to move into this role, you have to move into this position to probably come to where you are today, right? I don't think it's a straight path anymore, and the opportunities that are there for them, and also the way the young guns, like you call them, are embracing those opportunities, or probably taking a change in course, right? Shifting gears. It's also that the environment today is giving you those opportunities, but the fact of the matter is that they want to step out there and say that I will do something different, or I can change course. I really don't have to follow the same path as probably like what I might have done, right? I think that to me is being brave and, to stepping up there and, taking, kind of grabbing the opportunities by the horns, right? I think I see that a lot, and, echoes what you said in terms of the confidence. And it's the 30 under 30 this time, I think, is varied in terms of the different backgrounds and the capabilities that they bring to the table. So that's another thing that you're seeing today, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Our generation might not have been that way, right? You had a goal that you were after, a steady path that you wanted to go after. Yeah.
PG, I'd like to
Probably
come.
not you, PG, but
I don't know what he's doing here.
Yeah, we don't know.
Because he's like 30 under 30.
Yeah, he's 30 under 30 or 40 under 40. And
He's actually closer to
Yeah.
this generation than all of us. So I guess,
Yeah.
PG, coming to you, what is your expectation when you hire somebody from the youngest of the younger lot sitting in this room, or even otherwise, for talented, which is again a new age agency?
Check. So, but trying to, I think a lot of us would probably feel that years of experience as an objective parameter for hiring is no longer valid. There are, in fact, I think how to punch above your weight while still having only single-digit figure experience is exactly what this event is all about, right? So we try to not to keep years of experience as a metric at all. What we'd probably expect, so talented as such is not a good place for a first job at all. It's actually not. Because I think it's not a good place to learn. It's hopefully a good place to do a lot of stuff, which if you already have that in your head, right? So I think some of what do you say, the archetype, so to speak, we're not that big also. We're barely 50 people so far, but I think the archetype is someone who spent some time in the industry, who has a lot of ideas and solutions and things that they want to do in their head, and they're super pissed off about the fact that they have not been able to do it in their current job. So you come to Talented and you puke and you vomit as much as you can and get that dopamine. I think that's ideally the kind of profile that we'd go for. So one of the most beautiful things about our line of work is I was talking to one of my ex-colleagues who had moved in-house to an in-house creative team, and I was asking her, I was like, so what do you do? I was asking her, I'm like, so what do you do when you get a random idea? Like, let's say you get an idea to save this species of turtle, or to fix education in this particular state.
Just one quick question to all of you before we come to the audience questions, the winner questions. What is it that they bring to the table? What is that one quality that the youngsters have, which this generation can't have, doesn't have?
Your shot?
So I think, what they bring to us is actually bravery, because with their ideas and their freshness of approach, I think we, as people who've been in the business for a very long time, I think we tend to become braver in this world, right? And I'm saying that whole thing of being pushed almost into bravery. It's like a bungee jump. Suddenly somebody kicks you off the thing and you're going down. That was a kick. So the thing is that, and I just enjoy that because it takes you to places you haven't really been to before. And I think that's, the imagination of this generation.
Just adding to what Rohit was talking about, right? It's about whole host of energy. And also, I think the ability to change course, and I think going back to the earlier idea that I spoke about, just being a whole lot more agile, right? The ability, I mean, you're talking about a future which is shape-shifting, right? I mean, that's what everybody is saying. You're talking about digital transformation, you're talking about all those cliched words that you might want to use, right? But still, it is the reality today. And how you're able to embrace the changes, right? I think they're a lot more adept, they're a lot more agile, and also a lot more energetic, I guess. So, yeah.
What does the current generation have which we feel we should have had? I think you all have amazing bosses. I think your bosses are way better than our bosses. And that's, no, but I think they've actually done a really good job of getting their leadership to like sit up and take notice of what their expectations are overall. I think I remember like a lot of us from about 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago, a lot more reticent to talk about our expectations. So they've actually made their leadership a whole lot better. And which is why I kind of feel like hopefully they also feel like they're getting the best version of their leadership, because I can genuinely see like there are people who have zero need, and I'm talking about folks who have like 20, 30 years of experience in the industry, who have zero need to upskill. They've proved everything but they're still upskilling because something about impressing the folks who are on the floor still appeals to them. And they want to be, your bosses want to be in your good books. I think y'all are in a huge position of power to kind of make that happen. And at the same time, I think it works out well for the leadership because we get to like upskill because of you guys. So someone was mentioning a little earlier about reverse mentorship. I think one request from me is feel free to like do the reverse mentorship thing without coming across as threatening. I think a lot of times maybe there is a little bit of reticence to be like, I wish my boss did this in that way, but how do I kind of tell them? I think that is actually just a matter of finding the right words in the vocabulary. From what I can see, I think the tides have changed to a level where even if your leadership is one where they actually implement what you're saying or not, I don't think anyone can not afford to listen anymore. So you're in a huge position of power on that. So yeah, executed well.
Actually, you can't be as a leader, right? It's no longer about being a boss. I mean, I think you can't lead anymore. I think it's more of being a mentor or a coach. I think it's changing for us as well, as leaders.
No, I think they have more empathy. They have any day more empathy. You know what I mean? I think they care for a lot of things. They care for people and they care for planet a lot. I think it's 30 years back or 20 years back, we never knew what is we never understood about global warming. It is, we never knew what it was actually, very frankly speaking. We heard about it in some UN talks and everything, but I never saw it coming. We never understood the diversity that much. They really care about things and actually make you feel and realize a lot of things, good way. Because my daughter is 12 years old. I remember there was a list came of influencer people and everything. So my wife, Resham, went and told your Papa is part of that. I said, oh, fantastic. Is Greta Thunberg is in that? He says, no, I don't think that list counts. You know, and that shows how much they care about planet and people. And I know that we're going to see more and change, push us to change things. Thank you.
From what I gauge, you have big cheerleaders in these four. So remember that when you ask them the questions. So we're going to come over to you and put them in the hot seat. We've asked you to send us some questions and we picked a few people. So let's start with Atrey Nag from DDB Mudra. Atrey, are you here? Hi Atrey. You want to go ahead and ask your question? You can also tell us who you want to address it to.
Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you for being here. I am Atrey. I work as a senior strategist at DDB Mudra. And I remember seeing all of you at the jury meet, so nice to see you again. My question was actually a little long-winded and Neeta told me to keep it short, so I'm just going to try my best to do that. When I was young, I did not want to be in advertising. I wanted to be a doctor, and clearly I have strayed very far from that path. But I want to understand we understand the kind of impact our work has on everyday life, because an ad is not just an ad. It makes you feel something, and then after that, perhaps buy what you saw in the product window. But I don't think everyone else who is not in the industry understands the kind of profound impact that our work has on everyday life. So how do other people not just realize that, but also respect it?
Can I just talk about
You
it?
will have
Yeah,
all
sure.
of us competing to give you an answer on this.
No,
That's great.
I will answer it because my parents are doctor and I don't never want to be a doctor. Okay, that's why I thought I will answer you. See, what we do is not just advertising. Advertising was done, TVCs was done much before, I think 10 years, 15 years back. Now with everything that we have, all the weapons that we have, I'm not telling you the weapons of mass destruction, all that, ideas, technology, data, empathy, sustainability, a lot of things that we have, actually use those as part of our weapons. We can impact people's life. We can change things. And trust me, this is the right time when the movement is happening. And I've never been so excited in advertising than now. You can impact people's life as a finance-wise. You can work with a fintech and change things. You can work with a Healthian or any health brand and make sure that how can the, health brands get into the farthest part of the country. Name any brand. I'm just telling you one brand. Name any brand and what they can do now. It's not just TVCs. They have money, they have power, and most importantly, they need ideas. And we can do that. No other industry have the fun that we have it. We get up in the morning, we work with the best clients with the billions of dollars, wanting to change people's life, impact billion people's life, and we have it now. Nothing and never in the history of advertising or media have the power now. We have it, and we will do it. I promise you.
So, great question. You're going to get multiple answers. Sorry, with your permission. Okay, super. Listen, when a guy like Raj is being an optimist with the amount of experience that he has, I think all of us have enough and more reason to continue staying optimists. I do relate to what you said. I remember there was a point where I was probably like a year into coming to Bombay in 2012. One of the most impressive people back then in our teams. I was a junior copywriter back then in our teams. He was leaving the industry and he was going to go to Europe and study and whatever, right? He was a sweet guy. He was writing mails to everyone individually as one thank you mail. And the mail he wrote to me, and I was a few months old, not even a year old, a few months old, but I was a new guy in Bombay. I was like, whatever, like burn the midnight oil, afternoon oil, morning oil, evening oil, whatever it takes to work types. And I remember him telling me, he's like, PG, don't waste your passion on advertising. Use it for a higher art form. Okay? And since that day, I've been wanting to prove him wrong. I think a lot of us, most creative people have been pressurized into needing to develop an inferiority complex. In our line of work, we have been told that this is one of the lowest art forms, and the higher art forms are film, music, dance. Anthony Bourdain made cooking an art form, where even below that, architecture, you name it. So, however, I kind of feel on the contrary about it, that pitches us against every other art form, then we'd actually know where we stand. Because trust me, advertising like Raj said, advertising makes a bigger impact on people on an everyday basis than books, films, music combined, because it's basically a world, right? And you can't ignore it. And our responsibility for what kind of art form needs to be comes from the fact that no one can stop seeing us. Even if you're in music, you can say that who's going to listen to this? But the point is you put a billboard out there and everyone gets to see it. So now it's on you what you want to do after that, right? So we are very, very much an art form. Banksy once commented about how he was so jealous of artists being taken away by an industry like advertising instead of coming into something like graffiti, right? We made Banksy jealous. So I kind of feel it needs to start at a healthy ego, but thank you for the question. I think everyone would appreciate that.
I think in the interest of time, we'll have to move on, but we'll take some of the questions offline if that's okay with the jury members.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fabulous. So
Thank you for that.